Right now we're behind the house, and this is where the front line was held. In these trenches down here, obviously everything's grown out and covered or whatever, but you can still see a little bit. So over here is basically where we live, and right here, as you can tell, you can still see a little bit. This is still like I say, like 25, 28 something years later. So you can still see right here. There was one room right here, right? And the trenches ran all the way down. At the same time, you had trenches run up for another half a mile. So you had a room here, trenches all the way down, another room, and then trenches kept going.
And so people are shooting this way, and of course they're gonna miss and hit the house.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, the houses were shot up. I mean, shot up, shot up. Thank God for the trees, because if it wasn't for the trees, we would have been leveled. Another story that stayed in my heart was, and you'll see right down here, is in front of the house is my grandmother's grave. So when the first cannon popped off, she had a heart attack. She died on the spot in the house. She was in the house for almost 2 weeks. You couldn't go outside
To bury her.
No, you couldn't. My older brother, he was about 11. So imagine him being 11 years old and he had to dig a grave for his grandmother while lead is raining. And we literally buried her in front of the house because you couldn't go nowhere. Once we arrived to America from war-torn Bosnia, we settled the north side of St. Louis because that's the cheapest for immigrants, because you show up in this country with nothing. As a kid, man, I fell in love with martial arts. I was always a big fan of martial arts just by watching Walker, Texas Ranger. And I kept bugging my mom nonstop to take me, and it was hard for her to take me up the street to sign me up because there's no money. So finally, one day, mom took us up there. Me and my brothers, we started, taking martial arts. I was the only one that actually stuck with it because I was so in love with it. I pretty much lived at the dojo with my brother Ricardo.
After Spi-Ral and I met at the dojo and everything, one of the things we bonded over heavy was wrestling for real. Broken toes, bruised ribs, collapsed lung from a certain little cross power bomb we don't talk about anymore. I suppose if anything, that was probably like the start of working on story building, workshopping a lot of moves, even if it was something we found or tried to create on SmackDown, playing that game for hours and hours, had a whole storyline developed in there. But the other thing we connected with was music, actually. So he started writing, and we sit there and write all the time at the dojo, at the 7-Eleven, go to his place, write something. I mean, for someone coming from a completely different world, honestly, working on little things like timing and how to write out a stanza is exactly second nature. The work ethic he showed, like in martial arts, in wrestling, and in the construction and everything he was already doing at the age of 13, it all carried over into music too. You know what I'm saying? Even now, he's always writing something, constantly working on something, even if it means me jumping down his throat or getting on his ass about something, he actually pick up on it instead of bitching out. It's one of the things I respect about him.
So moving to Georgia, Atlanta, I heard that Bill DeMott opened up a school. And watching Bill DeMott on TV and Tough Enough, I felt comfortable, like, okay, this is a professional. Like, if I go here, I'm gonna learn legit, But I was with Bill for about a year, and then Bill dipped out for WWE. And then, to be honest with you, that was pretty much the end of my pro wrestling career. I didn't know anything about pro wrestling. I didn't know that it's a business first before it is a family or actual dojo. Like, when you say dojo, you speak family, you don't speak business, not in pro wrestling. So basically, when Bill DeMott left, I found out Michael Taylor opened up a school. And I linked up with Michael Taylor, and ever since then, I stayed with Michael Taylor.
Mike Scher, aka Micah Taylor. Been wrestling since January 13th of 2003, where I started at Ohio Valley Wrestling before getting hired by the WWE and sent down to Georgia to open a developmental territory called Deep South Wrestling. A lot of people don't know it, but I'm the body in almost all the wrestling video games since about 2005. So when Rico and Spi-Ral were sitting there playing their video games as kids, they had no idea they were playing me, and I was gonna run into them years later. Started my own wrestling school right after Bill DeMott started his, and I think it was New Energy Wrestling. And that's where I met Spi-Ral at. Back then, it was just a young kid coming in with almost like a bowl haircut, and they were just breaking in, training, practicing their matches with Bill and stuff like that. I had a ring this guy, Dan Lark, just bought me. And I told Bill, I go, I'd rather have it set up somewhere than just sitting in my garage doing nothing. I go, you got guys that want to train, here's the ring. I just asked if I could come work out and keep my feet under me and stuff. And then Spi-Ral would always show up a little bit after I got there because he was making the drive, just getting off work. I actually got to see Spi-Ral in one of his first matches. And Spi-Ral was wrestling Chris Bison, the other guy I trained with. I don't think I really paid attention to their match. I just paid attention after the match when they came back and watched them kind of half blown up and winded. And I think I remember them laying in the hallway together, just talking about their match. And it's kind of cool because we all started somewhere and we all did the exact same thing. And when you go out there and you can watch the younger guys do it when they have their first match, you can always tell they're on that cloud nine that you were on at the same time. So you could always respect that feeling and kind of laugh it off, going like, yeah, I know what the fuck's going through their heads.